As a Vikings fan, do you believe that adding a guy like Marshon Lattimore would be a power move for the Minnesota Vikings? Listen, if you take the finances out of things, all right, I believe that you can't go wrong. And if you look at the whole situation, when you think about our GM, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, he likes to go after players that are coming off of injury, but they've showed in the past that they could be a A-tier type of player. Marshon Lattimore is definitely that type of guy. I mean, I enjoyed watching all the battles with him and Justin Jefferson. He always wants to go against the opposing team's number one wide receiver. He likes to take on that challenge. So he had some injuries that hindered his career recently, especially the past 2 years. I think he's only played 17 games in the past 2 seasons. But again, he is still a A-list type of player when you think about all the available cornerbacks that are available right now. But again, we have to talk about financially, is it worth it for the Minnesota Vikings to go after a guy like Marshon Lattimore? So I want to read, there's an article that I want to read coming from, I think it's Daily Norseman, man. I want to make sure I get this right. Daily Norseman, they came out and had an article. They said, there is some speculation that the Vikings could or should make a trade for cornerback, and one of them involves Marshon Lattimore. I don't think the team has the draft capital to get Lattimore, and there are some free agents still out there. I think they should be very careful with their few draft assets. Plus, will Lattimore make that much of a difference? And even though he has 2 years left on his deal, he might want more money. He gets $15 million a year, $18 million in 2025, and $18.5 in 2026. Okay, so when I look at the amount of money he wants, to me, I would be out of that deal, right? And it's not because of the projection or just saying his potential and us knowing as Vikings fans watching him, because, you know, the Vikings and Saints, there's a little rival there, man. We've played them over the many years and we go head to head all the time. And there's just always that tension there. So we take that game kind of personal as Vikings fans. That's an out of conference type of game. But again, like if you look at Marshon Lattimore as a player, yes, he's worth $18.5 million in my opinion if he's healthy, but is it worth the Vikings giving up draft assets on top of having to pay him that much? I'm going to have to say no, man. I don't think I'm a big fan of making that move. Would I love to have Marshon Lattimore on the Vikings? Absolutely. You feel me? Absolutely, because I think him and Jefferson, iron sharpens iron, and I think them two at practice going head-to-head against each other, it would be crazy, man. We would have a dog because he is a dog, right? He has that dog mentality when he is out there on the field. We've seen it as Vikings fans. You can just go watch his highlights, watch his film, whatever you want to do, and the story will be written for you as well because he is that type of guy, right? So I want to talk about something else. They asked him how he felt, right? And he said, I feel good after missing 17 games because of injury over the past 2 seasons. He injured his ankle in week 10 of last year and did not return in 2023. And he lacerated his kidney in 2022. So ankle injury, how has that injury healed? We know we're dealing with Lewis Seen, who also had an ankle injury. I don't know. Obviously, Lattimore's ankle injury probably isn't as severe as Lewis Seen, but an ankle injury could be something that hinders you for the remainder of your career. You know, a lot of ankle injuries, there's a part where it never goes away, right? Like you go through the process of healing it, getting it together, but it's always there, and it's so simple to tweak it and re-injure, re-aggravate that type of injury when it comes to the ankle. So again, is it worth it, man? The physical, all that stuff that you would have to go through. Is he really going to be 100% for the remainder of his career? Because we're also talking about a guy that's been in the league for at least 6-7 years too. So he's not really a younger type of cornerback. He's considered a veteran, and we would expect him to come on the team and have that veteran presence to the rest of the guys that we have on this roster that are younger, right? So again, man, I don't know, man. Look, I like Marshon Lattimore. I'm a fan of Marshon Lattimore. I just don't know. I have to agree with Daily Norseman, man. I just don't think it's worth the Vikings taking that leap to get a guy of his caliber, just with the circumstances around it, with the injuries. But you know, our boy Kwesi Adofo-Mensah loves doing this type of stuff, and he's probably rubbing his hands, and I'm sure he will kick the tires on this type of move, man. I'm sure they will pick up the phone and call the Saints and just kind of see what's going on. See if there is some kind of deal that could be worked out. Let me know how you feel in the comments, man. Do you think Marshon Lattimore would be a good asset to the Minnesota Vikings? Drop it down in the comments. Holla at your boy.
Yeah. Smooth summer, who running? I hear them talking, but they ain't gon' do nothing. Celebration, I might have a toast with you. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, I'm terrific. We ain't taking no losses, we winning. Undefeated, check the percentage.